wake up, it's creative thinking time. It's time to get ourselves saving and thinking of saving. And here is the awesome creator of creative thinking. Here she is. Is she not the prettiest thing you've seen? Look at that big, beautiful smile. She's always thinking of all of us. Look at the wonderful shout-out videos she's done. Not just one, not just two. She does them all the time. She's always supporting her friends, so let's support her too. Creative Thinking is an awesome saving channel.
Well, you know what time it is, don't you? It's creative thinking time. We try to do this every other week. Now, I put money in savings every week. I always pay myself first, even before I pay my bills now. I figure out what I can possibly save if I apply myself, and that's what I commit myself to. I try to put in $100 a week for my dental work because the dental work is super, super expensive. I'm 75 years old, and you know, I can't afford to go buy and fix my teeth all at one time, and I may never be able to afford it. It's so expensive. But I don't want to wear dentures, and I know that sounds terrible. I just don't want to do it. So, as long as I'm working, I'm going to put $100 a week in my dental account. And when I get enough money saved up to do one tooth, I'm trying to make a commitment to one tooth per year, then I'll get one tooth fixed. You have to do something, and I started a couple of years ago now with creative thinking. I've been watching them for quite some time, and they really have kept me focused on I need to save something. So let's see what I did this week. We have 10, another 10, there's 40, 60, 80, 100. We made the 100 for this week. Now, where does that bring us up to? Well, there it is, $100 cash. And my balance now is $3,264.38 for this year. Now, I don't know if I'll make the $5,200 by the end of the year. That's not the point. The point is I've made a commitment to try to do $100 a week, and I usually do get it in. And I'm just saving. Last year, I spent $5,000 on dental work, and I haven't spent any money at all this year because I want to make sure I have enough money for the next project for the dental work. I probably won't get anything done until next year because I want a little bit more money. I would like to get some dental implants, and they're very expensive. At least in California they are. So we'll have to wait and see. But the most important thing is I've made a commitment to myself that I'm going to do it. And I will tell you truthfully, I don't think you have to make a ton of money to make this kind of commitment. I don't make a lot of money, and we just live on a smaller, I wouldn't like to say we live on a small budget. I wouldn't say that either. Compared to how some people live, we live pretty good. We do have money in savings. We have money to go on vacation, and I always have food in the house. We have utilities, and we have a place to live. If I manage my money better, we would probably have a lot more than we have. And that's what I tell myself all the time, because my husband says to me, you need to learn to manage this money better. But then my girlfriend tells me, Sandra, you've done pretty good. And I think about it, how some people live. I have done pretty good. Because literally I have no debt. I don't do any credit cards. I pay cash for everything. And people say, how can you do that? Well, when you run out of cash, you stop spending. And That's just how I run my life. I take so much money out of the bank every week, what I think we should live on, and that's what we try to live on. Sometimes I make it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I actually even have money left over. Hard to believe, I know in this day and age, but it is. It does happen. If I wouldn't spend so much money, I would always have money left over. But as you guys all can see, I'm always going on some shopping trip and buying something for my YouTube channel. We go out to eat at dinner if we want to. If we want to go do something with the family, we go do it. So I'm not getting myself all worked up into a state about sitting home, never doing anything. And I'm telling you something else. I always have the water cooler going, even though it doesn't do much in this heat that we've been having. I am not going to sit in this house and be hot. In the wintertime, if it's too cold, I turn the heater on. I'm not going to freeze to death either. So that's just how I feel. And there's always food. And if I want to go out and spend an extra 20 or 30 bucks a week on junk food, I do it. So I'm not saying that we suffer, but we still save something every week. And we've always saved a certain amount of money because we've always went on vacation every year, and we've never made a lot of money. And when I had my children at home when they were small, we always did something every month with them. I bought a very expensive camp membership, and I'm sure people thought that was insane. But when you factor in that's what we like to do, we don't gamble, we don't smoke, we don't drink, we don't take drugs. I had a friend once ask me, how do you do what you do on your little salary? Because he worked with me, and I guess he found it difficult. And I said, well, for one thing, my house payment's $1,000 less than yours. And for another thing, I don't have a car payment. And you have, I don't know if he had one or two car payments, but he had at least one. He might have had two. Right there is how I did it, and it was hard for him, and it wasn't hard for me. So, first chance you get, and you can buy any kind of house. I don't care what kind at all. As long as it's not in an area where you're going to get killed, buy it. Period. I know you're not going to believe this, but the year we bought our home, now keep in mind I'm 75 years old. We bought this home about 50 years ago, so it isn't like we just bought it. We made $7,000 that year. $7,000 for the whole year. I had two children. I wasn't working because my child was, the youngest one was, I don't know, maybe 2 years old or something. And now I did do babysitting, and so I did earn money that way. I guess I shouldn't have said it the way I did. But anyway, we made $7,000 or $8,000. We were not making a lot of money. And we bought our first home, and it's the only home we've ever bought because after we bought it, we could never afford to buy anything nicer or bigger because our income never went up to keep up with inflation. But the thing that I want to mention is we bought something. Very small, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. It's 1,000 square feet. We bought it right in town in Rialto. That's the town we live in. It's not a big fancy home. It's a very tiny home. And it's right in town. And I never thought about it at the time. But buying in town, it can be good if you can find something you can afford. We're right next to the bus line. We're only a few blocks away. We're only a few blocks away from the train station. So if I wanted to take the train into LA, I could do that. I am only a few blocks from the grocery store, the bank. If I didn't have a car, I could still do anything I needed to do when it comes to like going to buy groceries or banking. We had only one car for years, and we both worked. My husband worked nights, and I worked days. Oh yeah, that was lots of fun. But that's what we could afford. And so buy what you can afford. Don't get in debt a lot. And just keep living. And that's what we've done. We've always taken a vacation with our children. We've always done an outing all the time. You can do it. Just don't overextend yourself too much. And don't get me wrong, I've overextended myself through the years. I've went in debt. I had credit cards at one time. I haven't had a credit card in 15 years. Hard to believe, isn't it? And you know, I can live without it, and I'm really trying hard to do that. Well, just keep in mind, get that house as soon as you can, and try to get something you can afford. You don't need a big mansion to be happy. You don't need a brand new car every 3 years to be happy. See you in the next creative thinking.